Hot cross buns. You know them, you love them. They're a total classic for a reason. But let's be real for a second. Getting that soft, spicy, truly bakery-perfect result at home, it can feel impossible. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the whole process. We're going to break down every essential steps you can create absolutely exceptional hot cross buns right in your own kitchen.
And you know, that's really what it's all about, isn't it? This isn't just about baking. It's about tapping into a feeling, a memory. It's about that perfect, nostalgic bite that just tastes like tradition. And that is exactly the bar we are aiming for today.
So the big question is, how do we get there? How do we close that gap between a kind of dense, homemade try and that pillowy, fragrant bun you get from the pros? Well, I promise you, it's not magic. It's really about understanding the science and, more importantly, the technique behind the dough. And it all starts right here, with the foundation, the dough itself. The secret to a mind-blowingly good hot cross bun really begins here. So let's break down what makes this stuff so special.
The key phrase you need to know is enriched dough. Now, unlike a simple lean dough you'd use for, say, a baguette, this one is loaded with fats. We're talking milk, butter, and eggs. These ingredients do way more than just add flavor. They actually get in the way of long gluten strands forming. And that's the science behind that incredibly soft, tender texture and delicate crumb that we're all chasing.
Okay, so think of this as your flavor palette. You've got your rich dough components, your classic warm spices, and your sweet dried fruits. But I have to call out one pro tip from our sources that makes a massive difference. When you're ready to add your orange or lemon zest, don't just throw it in. Mix it directly into the sugar first. Get your fingertips in there and really rub it in. This simple little move helps the sugar crystals grab all those fragrant essential oils from the zest, which means your entire dough gets infused with this incredible, bright citrus flavor. It's a game changer. And please, don't feel locked into just currants and cinnamon. This recipe is so incredibly versatile. I mean, think about using dried cranberries for a little bit of tartness. Or why not go for a modern twist with chocolate chips? You could even get wild and experiment with cardamom or a chai spice mix. This is totally your bun, your way. So, we have our ingredients, but now we come to probably the most critical, and let's be honest, often the most intimidating stage of all, getting that perfect rise. This is where that amazing texture is truly made.
Before you do anything else, you have to remember that your yeast is a living thing. So, first rule, check the expiration date. It's the #1 reason for failure. Seriously. Second, even if it's in date, you gotta test it. If you mix it with warm milk and sugar and it doesn't get all foamy and bubbly, it's a dud. Your buns won't rise. Just start over. And pay close attention to that temperature. If your milk is too hot, you've killed the yeast before it even had a chance to work its magic.
Look, the most important ingredient here is patience. It is so tempting to rush the proofing process, but that time is absolutely essential. It's when all that complex, bready flavor develops. The difference, as you can see, is just dramatic. It's the difference between a light, airy, delicious bun and a bland, dense rock. It really is that simple. You know, finding a perfectly warm, draft-free spot for your dough can be a real pain. But this might be my favorite tip from all the research. Are you ready for this? Use your clothes dryer. I'm serious. Just run it empty for a minute to get it a little warm, turn it off, and then stick your covered bowl inside. It creates the absolute perfect proofing environment. It's an absolutely genius hack.
All right, our dough has risen beautifully. It's all puffy and happy. Now comes the really fun hands-on part, shaping those perfect, uniform buns and tackling that iconic cross. The trick to a perfectly round bun that actually holds its shape in the oven is creating surface tension. The easiest way to think about it is like you're making a little drawstring bag. You gather all the edges of your dough piece up into the center and pinch them together really well. Then just flip it over so the seam is on the bottom, cup your hand over it, and roll it on the counter. This creates a tight, smooth ball that will rise up, not out, in the oven.
And now for the main event, the cross. It turns out there's actually more than one way to do this. You've got the classic flour and water paste that you pipe on before baking. Some recipes even use thin strips of actual pastry dough. Or you can just skip that whole part. Simply score the top with a knife and then pipe a sweet icing glaze into those grooves after the buns have cooled down. It's totally up to you. Okay, we are on the home stretch. The buns are shaped, they're crossed, and they are ready for their final amazing transformation in the oven, which is followed, of course, by that beautiful glossy finish. Now listen up, because this is a crucial piece of advice that requires some serious self-control. You have to let the buns cool for at least 20 minutes. I know, it's torture. They smell incredible. But if you cut into them straight from the oven, the inside can be gummy and might even seem undercooked. That resting time lets the internal structure fully set. Think of it as the final secret step of the baking process.
And for that irresistible, shiny bakery look, you've got options. You can go classic with some warmed-up apricot jam. That gives you a beautiful gloss. A simple sugar syrup also works great. Or, hey, if you decided to just score your buns instead of piping across, a sweet powdered sugar icing is the perfect way to finish them. And when it comes to serving, you really cannot go wrong with a generous smear of honey butter.
So if you only remember 3 things from this entire explainer, let it be these. 1. Your yeast has to be fresh and active. Always test it. 2. Do not skimp on the proofing time. That's not wasted time, it's flavor development time. And 3. Measure your flour correctly, ideally with a kitchen scale. Too much flour is the fastest way to get a dense, dry, disappointing bun.
With these techniques in your back pocket and just a little bit of patience, you're not just baking a treat, you're creating a brand new tradition. So the only question left is, when are you getting into the kitchen?